Great job, Carter. Yeah, that's a papaw bucket right there. You gonna get some of mine? Good job. That's gonna grow some good stuff right there. Let's spread it around a little bit, okay? Put some more over there. Hey guys, so today we are fertilizing the other part of the garden, and then we're gonna work it in. That way it's not just sitting on the top. We get fertilizer scattered throughout the soil, the seed bed, and just generally helps grow a good garden. We put 50 pounds of lime on it the same day that we had the potatoes planted. Carter's gonna put some more fertilizer down. Good job, girl. So now we're putting a triple 12. So if you don't know what that means, when you find a fertilizer bag, it'll have 3 numbers on it. This one is 12-12-12. So the first number is nitrogen. I think the second number is phosphate. And the third one is the potash. That tells you how much it is. So depending on what you're planting, you'll want to get a different fertilizer for different stuff. Like corn likes a lot of nitrogen. So a lot of guys will do like a 4600 for their sweet corn, and that'll really juice up the nitrogen in the ground. And then you can plant some plants that are nitrogen fixing, like soybeans. They'll put nitrogen back in the ground, if I'm not mistaken. So that's why a lot of guys rotate their crop around. They don't have to put as much nitrogen the next year when they plant corn. But I'm gonna let them continue to put some good fertilizer down, and then we'll get on the tractor and we'll get this side worked up. All right, so my lovely assistants got the fertilizer spread for me. We're got the tractor out here now. We're gonna use this big boy to make a lot less work for me. A lot easier on my ankle, and plus it's just fun to drive a tractor. So we're gonna fire this thing up and see what we can get done. Okay, so it's really hard, come to find out, to try to video and steer a tractor straight and engage the PTO and till ground. So that video probably wasn't the best, but you can see now that we've got it worked up. We've got a good breeze today. So what I'm going to let that do is I'm going to let the sun shine on it for an hour or two, let it kind of dry up some of that moisture, because as you can see, there's a big difference in the moisture level from tilled and untilled. It gets that hard crust on it. By opening it up, we're letting some of that moisture escape, and everything won't be as wet on the roots. You still need some moisture, but by going through and turning the ground over like we did at the beginning of the year, it allows that moisture to drain on down any heavy rain, so it doesn't stay as wet for long. And we can keep that water table down below, and it'll eventually leach up and the plants can get a drink out of it. But we'll let that set, and we'll come back to it in an hour or so, and we'll run it through again. Hey guys, so we got a little busy the other day, and I didn't get to get my tomatoes in the ground, and that happens on a farm. Something will come up and you got to drop what you're doing and go do that. So we did it. Now we're back. So what I've done is I've had the my walk behind tiller. I brought it out since the ground had dried out real good and I wanted to make a good seed bed. So as you can see, I've got a rope most of the way down the line so I can get me a good straight line. And we'll go through here and we'll mark our holes. We'll rake out a little bit of dirt for each spot we want it so we can go through and drop our tomatoes and plant them. What we'll do is, once I get the holes dug, I've got a bucket of water up here and I'll scoop out 10, 12 ounces, just whatever I've got. I'll cut a bottle open or something and use it to pour a little bit of water in each hole before I plant them. Usually this time of year I've already started fishing a little bit. It's been kind of busy around here and hectic, so haven't done a lot of fishing, but when I do, I'll skin out the fish and then I'll try to throw, the sides or the heads or something like that down in the very bottom of the hole. I'll dig it real deep and then cover the fish up with a little bit of dirt. So it's not sitting right on the root, but as that breaks down and the tomato plant grows, it'll tap into that fish, and it's super nutrients for a tomato plant. You'll have some just gigantic tomato vines. They'll grow out of your cages and hit the ground and start going again. It's almost too much, but if you're looking for a really good crop of tomatoes, that's the way to do it. You can do other stuff. They sell a lot of amendments you can put in the holes for them, but if we can do it the most natural way possible, we like to. We don't spray a lot of stuff on our garden because it's going in our body, so we try not to put a lot of chemicals in it, and sometimes it's just hard to avoid if you get a infestation, but it is what it is. So we'll go through here, we'll mark our holes, and we'll get ready to put some tomatoes in the ground. Okay, so I'm going to try to give you some sort of idea of how I mark my holes. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see that or not, I've got a little bowl dug out, and that's where I'm going to drop my set, and then I'll backfill the dirt around it to cover the plant up. But from that hole, I just take the hoe and I go about the length of the handle. One-handed is not very easy, but I'll just plop a hole down right there and then kind of look where the next one's going to be, and it doesn't have to be exact. I'm not a perfectionist. I'm not going to break a tape measure out and make sure they're absolutely perfect. I'm just looking to give them plenty of room so when they bush out, nothing's being choked out from sunlight. I want the plants to get plenty of sunlight, and plus with this spacing it makes it really easy for weeding later on, because I can run figure eights down through here in and out and till in between the plants, and then just use a hoe to get right up close to them. Save myself a lot of work. So we'll get the rest of this done, and then we'll get some tomatoes starting to drop in the hole. Okay, so it's probably not the best way to do this by jamming my phone down in the mud or the dirt here to show you guys how I plant my tomatoes, but we're going to give it a whirl anyway. So these two bottom leaves right here, you can pinch those off if you want and bury them. Those are the first, that's the first leaves that come out when the tomato seed sprouts. So that's what helps it get up out of the dirt, and then it splits out, and then all the rest of this grows. But if you can see on here, these tomato vines are really fuzzy. All them little hairs on there will turn into roots if you bury them. And you can bury this thing up to the first leaves. So what I'm gonna do, you can't really see it real good here, but I'll pick it up in a second, is I'm pushing all this dirt up around it. So when I was moving the camera, I hit the power button. So I don't know where I left off. We'll go back to it. But this plant here is buried up to almost the very first leaves. So all those little fuzzy hairs on there will hopefully become roots now and help that plant get a good footing in there. And with the soil we've got, it holds a lot of moisture, so it should be able to drink pretty good. As you can see there, my first 4 plants that I put in the ground were my no-heat jalapenos. I put those really close to the front. That way we can get in and get out and, you know, grab those quick. Because once they start coming on, you know, it's every day or two you're picking quite a few. So I want those close at hand so I don't have to walk so far to check on them daily. But I'll get my assistant out here and do this, a lot of this manual labor, bending over and planting and putting stuff in. But I just wanted to show you guys how we do our tomatoes here, and we're going to get the rest of it going. I'd say this week we're going to go by the Amish greenhouses. They're still open. They're an agricultural thing. Since we got the Rona going around, we'll go down there and try to stay away from everybody and get our plants and get back home, and we'll put our garden out. Hopefully it's just for fun, but if the Rona hangs around and stuff gets tight, hopefully we should have good groceries out here. We'll see you next time, guys. Be sure and like and subscribe. Thanks.